Hello everyone. This video is not for the government. This video is not for the big corporations. This urgent message is for you, India's non-Godi media. The journalists, editors, whistleblowers and storytellers who still believe in the value of truth and justice in a democratic setup. I am Akhor Bandyopadhyay from Once in a Blue Moon Academia, OBMA, reaching out to our non-Godi media today with a SOS appeal. Press freedom is being dismantled in this country today. We find ourselves in a claustrophobic situation. Paid propaganda dominates the screens, while independent voices are systematically targeted, attacked, censored. Yet, there is hope. In you, the journalists who represent the newly emerged and newly evolved fifth pillar of democracy. Independent, crowd-funded reporters and journalists, rising as a backlash against the lies and propaganda machinery of the so-called mainstream Godi media, manufactured and sustained by the fascist Bharatiya Janata Party, the BJP. We are truly grateful to all of you for examining the Peku lies of the oligarchs, that is, the systematic pseudology. But one story, massive and devastating, has still not received the wall-to-wall coverage it deserves. The collapse of the Dewan Housing Finance Corporation Limited, or DHFL. We did not ever expect Godi media to cover this DHFL story, but we did expect you to. What is stopping you now, even now? This is not just another corporate failure, I must tell you. This is about the shattered lives of ordinary people, retired pensioners, physically challenged persons, Indian Air Force families, UPPCL employees, and even several philanthropic Jesuit institutions who lost their life savings, fixed deposits, non-convertible debenture holders' savings simply wiped out. These were not high-risk gamblers. These were citizens who trusted the system. Since this scam has reduced us to paupers, we cannot offer you large contributions. Yet for this reason alone, please do not ignore us, but help us. Help us in the name of justice and democracy, and for an idea of India that truly stands for secular socialist values. Let us tell you something on the key facts about this affair. Dear non-Godi media of India, reporting on these truths is not optional anymore. It is your fearless journalistic duty in today's state of undeclared emergency in the Indian Republic turned into a crony oligarchy. Over the years, serious allegations had emerged against DHFL and its promoters Kapil Wadhwan and Dhiraj Wadhwan. Allegations of siphoning thousands of crores through shell companies. Allegations of links with underworld figures like Daud Ibrahim and Iqbal Mirchi. Allegations of political donations to the ruling Bharatiya Janata Party through terror funding. These are not whispers at all. They have appeared in investigative reports and petitions. Why are they not the subject of relentless coverage by your independent media? Since we don't ever expect Godi media to cover these facts at all. Then there were the gatekeepers, credit rating agencies, CRAs like Care Ratings and Brickwork Ratings, continued to give DHFL the highest AAA rating almost until it collapsed in 2019. Small investors took comfort in those ratings. The auditors like Chaturvedi and Shah LLP, failed in their duties, with regulators later penalizing them. But again, after the damage was already done. Why are the failures of these agencies not being exposed daily on your independent news platforms? The urgency of this failure was only reinforced recently. The Chandigarh State Consumer Disputes Redressal Commission's July 31st, 2025 verdict held auditors, CRAs, and regulators liable for misleading investors with AAA ratings and ordered compensation for a DHFL NCD holder. Despite Cobra Post's 2019 expose of siphoned money through shell companies and fraudulent transactions, auditors violated key ethical standards and CRAs maintained AAA ratings seemingly due to conflicts in the issuer pays model. No long-term prosecutions have followed, and depositors demand accountability, restitution, and reforms. How can auditors and CRAs escape accountability when lakhs of depositors lost their life savings based on their manufactured assurances? And what about celebrity power? Shah Rukh Khan himself endorsed DHFL in television, social media, and printed ads. For millions of Indians, if SRK vouched for it, it had to be safe. The Consumer Protection Act makes it clear. Endorsers of financial products must exercise due diligence. If star power was used to sell these schemes to the public, then star power must also be used to repair the damage. Why has no independent outlet dared to directly question our beloved SRK's surprising silence? Did he not learn from how Mithun Chakraborty returned all his money after the Sharoda cheat fund or Ponzi scheme scam? The resolution process of DHFL made things worse. The Reserve Bank of India appointed a committee of creditors, a COC, under the ill-conceived, heavily amended Insolvency and Bankruptcy Code as a test case, as a litmus test case, as if the DHFL victims were mere lab-state guinea pigs open to experimentation. Depositors and small investors had no abiding voice at this table of the COC. The entire voting process was opaque. The voting questions presented to the small depositors during the CIRP were double-edged swords. And the question-answer data could not even be downloaded electronically, raising concerns that echo allegations of electoral manipulation linked to the BJP ECI nexus in the Bhot Chori scam. The COC, dominated by large banks, approved the sale of DHFL to Piramal Group at just around by equating 45 crore worth of assets for only 1 rupee. What kind of arithmetic is that? Critics have alleged over the years that competing bids for DHFL were sidelined and that Oaktree Capital's higher offer was brushed away. Oaktree Capital even alleged bias of the COC in favor of Mr. Ajay Piramal. Many have sarcastically called it a sweetheart deal, a wealth transfer, but at the cost of lakhs of people's long-term miseries. Why has Non-Godi media not put this process under a microscope? And the judiciary, the courts. Let's look at the timeline in brief. In May 2021, the National Company Law Tribunal, the NCLT, directed the COC for DHFL to reconsider a settlement plan from the Wadhwan brothers that could have repaid them in full, I repeat. Within a few days, the National Company Law Appellate Tribunal, the NCLAT, stayed that order after the COC and Mr. Piramal rushed to the NCLAT without even answering the NCLT within the stipulated time period of 10 days. Was this not a contempt of court, possibly? We're asking. This is a question, not an accusation. The question remains to be asked by our Non-Godi media. In June 2021, NCLT had to approve Mr. Piramal's resolution plan. In January 2022, the NCLAT itself came up with a revolutionary order that noted irregularities and several illegalities or contrary to law aspects in the resolution process led by the COC and in the resolution plan of Mr. Ajay Piramal, and also especially regarding the gross undervaluation of assets. But within weeks or a month, the Supreme Court stayed even that order upon Piramal's quick appeal. How is it? How is it that when millions of cases for ordinary citizens are pending for years over years, Tariq pe Tariq in Indian courts, Piramal gets such fast food justice? Is he more equal than others? Yes, I have to quote Orwell in this regard. Finally, in April 2025, I must tell you, the Supreme Court of India gave its final verdict, endorsing Mr. Piramal's resolution plan that cemented steep haircuts for small depositors, FD and NCD holders. What is legal may not always be just, you know well. Where is the media outrage then? Where is it? Meanwhile, some of the ordinary depositors connected to our OBMA platform who tried to speak up against all these injustice were hit with defamation suits by Mr. Ajay Piramal's legal team, DSK Legal. These are strategic lawsuits against public participation, SLAPP, SLAPPs. These SLAPPs were designed to intimidate, harass and silence the victims from taking a stand, from raising their voice of dissent. The message was, stop talking or we will drown you in legal harassment. Why isn't the independent press raising the demand for a strong anti-SLAPP law in India? And then comes the RTI Stonewall, when some DHFL victims filed right to information requests with the Reserve Bank of India, the Insolvency and Bankruptcy Board of India, the CAG, even the Ministry of Corporate Affairs, the Ministry of Finance and so on, they were met with stock copy-paste replies. No records available. This does not fall under the RTI Act's definition of information and so on. Transparency was thereby denied at every level for the DHFL victims. RTI was created to give citizens light. Why is our Non-Godi media not shouting about this developing darkness? Friends in the independent media, please step ahead. Now is the time. This is not a one-off case. We have seen Yes Bank, ILNFS, PMC Bank and now DHFL. We have also seen the stock market scam. The playbook is the same. Siphon of money at the top, crash the company, let ordinary savers take the massive haircut and hand the remains to a favored corporate tycoon. That is Adani, Ambani and their family members like Mr. Ajay Piramal. Yes, Mr. Ajay Piramal is the secondary kin of Mr. Mukesh Ambani. This is not development at all. This is organized extraction and financial abuse. This is an infringement of human rights as per international law under the United Nations and also a violation of the right to livelihood as guaranteed by our domestic law, the Indian Constitution. Though we are aware that international law is the vanishing point of jurisprudence. That is why we appeal to you on behalf of our OBMA. India's Non-Godi media, if you do not tell these stories, no one ever will. If you do not investigate, the truth will be erased from public memory. If you do not amplify, victims will remain forever invisible. So here is what we must demand. We must demand from you, and you must champion as your ethical duty. 1. Tell the full truth of the DHFL depositor's suffering along with its background. Relentless fact-based national coverage of the human cost involved. The stories of senior citizens, Air Force families, widows and ordinary citizens destroyed by the scam and the decisions that followed. 2. Call for a Judicial Truth and Accountability Commission. Expose the entire chain of irresponsibility, from the Vadwans to the political donations to the BJP through terror funding to auditors, to rating agencies, to the RBI appointed COC, to Mr. Ajay Piramal's allegedly forceful accusation of the DHFL and even the final Supreme Court judgment. Demand an independent commission that re-examines everything from scratch. 3. Demand real liability for the gatekeepers. Auditors and rating agencies who whitewashed DHFL's books must face penalties, serious penalties that repair the public damage for nearly 6 years. Not token fines that let them walk away freely. 4. Hold celebrity endorsers accountable. Shah Rukh Khan must answer for promoting DHFL. A public apology, return of his endorsement fees, and participation in investor awareness campaigns are the least steps towards ensuring accountability. 5. Protect the voices of truth tellers, dissenters, whistleblowers. You must push for strong anti-SLAPP legislation so that journalists, activists, whistleblowers, and citizens cannot be gagged or harassed in courts by the powerful, the state corporate nexus. 6. Demand transparency of the RBI appointed committee of creditors for DHFL. Publish every detail, votes, minutes, expenditures, valuation, competing bids. The COC proceedings must be made entirely public so that backroom deals stop hiding behind a veil of secrecy, a will to hide. 7. Fight for time-bound restitution for the DHFL victims, the depositors. Highlight the urgency of justice. Small depositors who trusted DHFL must not wait for decades for crumbs. Justice delayed is justice denied, as you know very, very well. Time-bound repayment and restitution of justice is non-negotiable. Non-Godi media, this is your moment. You are the last line. Sponsored, bootlicking media channels will never touch this. If you remain silent, I'm afraid you become complicit. So I leave you with this thought. Silence is not neutrality. Silence is betrayal to your collective mission in taking a stand against the current state corporate collusion in Indian Republic. And to all those who are watching this, the general audience, including DHFL victims, if this message resonates with you, with your suffering, if you believe these stories must be told immediately, then help amplify it. Like this video, share it, leave a comment, and most importantly, subscribe to our channel. Click on the bell icon for every single update. Every click, every share, every subscription gives strength to independent voices and keeps this truth alive. Thank you for standing with justice. Thank you for refusing to look away. Because in the end, justice is not a judgment on a piece of paper. Justice is food on the table, medicine for the elderly, and dignity for the ordinary citizens. O Non-Godi media of India, shine the light right now. Tell the story. You will find the link to the consolidated, detailed, comprehensive document on the entire DHFL narrative, specially prepared for you as a press release, in the video description box below. Go through it. That's our request. This is the result of over 4 years of research by our collective platform, Once in a Blue Moon Academia, OBMA. And also remember, dearest Non-Godi media platforms, in defending press freedom and reporting fearlessly on issues such as the DHFL scam, you are also defending the Indian Constitution and the fundamental rights it guarantees. Not just freedom of speech and expression, or the right to information, but the right of ordinary citizens and DHFL victims, financially abused DHFL victims, to justice, to restitution, and to the right to equality before the law of the land. I end with the philosopher Bertrand Russell's relevant quotation in this regard. I dedicate this to you, Non-Godi media. Be isolated, be ignored, be attacked, be in doubt, be frightened, but do not be silenced. Thank you.